This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
It's your boy Miguel Z with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I've got a guest for you folks from StocktonCon.
What up, everybody? AJ Kurz here, the voice and the host of StocktonCon. The value of wrestling is awesome. So subscribe on YouTube. Scan the QR code right here, right now. Subscribe, check it out.
There we go.
Glad you did.
Thank you, brother.
That's right, right here with Google, San Jose, love respect, right? Value wrestling, hello.
Thank you, brother. Thank
Oh, you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, on the Big Time right here on the Value of Wrestling with another edition of Big Time Rants, edition number 70. Well, I'm up there the charts, and I'm here on a Saturday to break down some news. Lots of news coming out in the wrestling world, and we're going to talk about all types of different things and get to the heart of it. We're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about Mercedes Mone. What did she say? What was the reason Okada decided to actually sign with AEW? With some of the details and all of that. Big SmackDown last night. We saw The Rock show up. What is going to happen from here? Talking about Cody's slap being referenced as the new Will Smith slap, and lots of other things that we're just going to break down and jump into, and we're going to get right into it right now, ladies and gentlemen. Cody Rhodes could lay the claim to being the first ever superstar to main event both night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania. Since WrestleMania has become 2 nights, he could be the very first one, as he will be in the main event of night 2 against Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal Championship, and then he will be in night 1, what is supposed to be the main event. Seth Rollins and him teaming up to take on The Rock and Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes could become the first man in WWE history to main event both nights of WrestleMania. Okada, the reason he decided he wanted to work with his friends at AEW, knowing the Elite, knowing the stability, trusted Tony Khan in the big part. He didn't have to relocate from Japan. So Okada decided to go with AEW for these reasons, and we're going to have to wait and see how that folds out. Of course, the bigger questions are going to come into play in the conversation here shortly. But Okada decided to go to AEW, not necessarily about money, but it allowed him to not have to relocate, and he gets to wrestle with people that he already knows, already associated with. And so there's that. We'll have to see how it plays out. He made his debut tonight on Collision with the Elite in a match. It should be very interesting to see how that match plays out, even though he's wrestling jobbers. Okay. Cody, did you watch SmackDown? How do you feel about Cody giving his receipt back to The Rock, making a big news? People comparing the slap from Cody, saying, "Keep my dog's name out of your mouth," slapping back at The Rock. A big moment last night. I think it was underwhelming. Could have been a little more, but we'll have to see how it plays out. Hopefully this level of intensity continues to grow. But they did a good thing last night. Can't wait to see how it's going to go moving forward. So we are just excited to see how that'll all play out. So moving into WrestleMania, of course, big news coming out now. WrestleMania was advertised for WrestleMania 41, possibly Las Vegas, but the big name that's taking the forefront now is Minneapolis, Minnesota, may be the home of WrestleMania 41. It seems like a big favorite in breaking news. U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis could be the host of WrestleMania 41. Minnesota Bill 3934, introduced on February 19th, hinted at a significant sporting event coming to the state, with officials unable to disclose details at this time. Notably, during the discussion related to this bill, it was mentioned that another major event, potentially WrestleMania, would provide an economic impact rivaling that of the Super Bowl. So will WrestleMania 41 be taking place in Minneapolis, Minnesota? That could be huge. That could be a big deal. Can't wait to see what's going to happen. That Matt Riddle talking about wanting to wrestle in AEW and very possibly could be a part of the summer event in Forbidden Door, AEW's Forbidden Door, where they team up with New Japan Pro Wrestling, do some cross-promotion wrestling. Could Matt Riddle be a representative of New Japan Pro Wrestling and be able to get his foot in the door of AEW? Very likely possibility. Can't wait to see how that goes going forward. Lots of interesting information. Paramore gives Bayley permission to use their song at WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania 40. Sorry, we were just talking about WrestleMania 41. My tongue got tied to there. Anyways, Bayley's on the road to WrestleMania 41 with on the road to WrestleMania 40 with one of the hottest angles in the company right now, which is why she always wanted to use a Paramore song for the show of shows. Fortunately, it appears Paramore has permitted Bayley the use of one of their songs for the showcase of the Immortals. And I can talk. Sometimes I get all tongue-tied. And so it looks like William made it clear that Bayley could use their Simmer song as the entrance to her showcase of the Immortals. So it looks like Bayley's going to have an interesting and special WrestleMania 40 moment. Can't wait to see what they do with Bayley and this song and how it all plays out for them. Should be awesome. Anyways, the big news. Mercedes Mone going into AEW, making a couple $1 million a year under her contract, but came out and announced that, yes, she eventually figures she will go home. Yes, she eventually wants to go back to the WWE. She wants her to be going home. So one day she will be coming home. Mercedes Mone coming out before even making her AEW impact, saying that she's here, she's going to make money, and but one day her plan is to return to WWE. This is her ultimate goal and her long-term plans. She doesn't necessarily say when or how or why that'll happen. Before she even steps foot in AEW, she's already telling everybody that she's headed back to WWE. So this is going to get interesting. Mercedes Mone making a big splash. She's supposed to debut next Wednesday on Dynamite at Dynamite Big Business. AEW setting everything up for Mercedes Mone to come in. So Mercedes Mone may return or should return as Sasha Banks to WWE at some point. This is her plan, and her goal. How does it affect the locker room in AEW? What effect does that have on Tony Khan, knowing that this is a woman who's coming in to do business, but eventually wants to go back? We hope that she can come into AEW and possibly change the landscape of the women's division, but it's going to be very interesting because she can only do so much as a talent. It's going to be the bookers that are going to have to really get this over, and we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out starting this week or next week here when Dynamite comes to you live, and we will be here to cover all that. Big business, AEW Dynamite. Could be an interesting night. Other than that, I think Tony Khan is putting himself in deep trouble. Tony Khan has a multi-million-dollar payroll that is just, we know he's paying Okada $4.5 million. We know that all of the elites seem to be making well over 7 digits. That includes Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, and both Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. John Moxley making well over $1 million. Chris Jericho making a couple $1 million a year. Mercedes Mone offered a couple $1 million a year. Will Ospreay a couple $1 million. A lot of people on this roster are being offered a huge sum of money to be on this program, to be a part of the AEW roster. But AEW just doesn't seem to be bringing in the money. Selling venues with only 2,000, 3,000 seats. Yes, they had a big venue for Revolution, AEW Revolution 2024, Sting's last match. They did big business there. But where is the rest of this money coming from? Where are they going to make it? As we already know that they've been in the red, trying to get in the black. But big TV deal coming up. Tony Khan keeps talking about how great things are. We're going to have to wait and see. But Tony Khan throwing money out the window constantly. It's going to be very interesting to see if Tony Khan's going to figure out something. You can pay people big money, but, over time, if you're not bringing in money, it's going to hurt you. WWE, yes, they have several guys that are up there getting paid a big money for their, in the $1 million, but not quite as many people as AEW has on that, and not as big as contracts. $4.5 million roughly for Okada over 3 year per year for 3 years. That's a huge deal, and we're gonna have to see how that plays out. Hopefully, Tony Khan can turn this around. Got to get the cat out of the way. You know how that goes. Hi, babies. She wanted to come say hi. I don't know what Tony Khan's gonna do. AEW is throwing money out there for these big contracts and pulling all these big names, but eventually that's gonna have to give. It's gonna be interesting, but we are here. Right here on the Value Wrestling on the Big Time. This is the Big Tyme Rants. We're always trying to find the latest news, information, and get it out to you. I know there's not a whole lot of big, impactful news, but we touched on quite a couple of things here. Mercedes Mone talking about how she eventually plans on coming home back to WWE. Okada's contract, why Okada decided to go with AEW after all. And so there's so much more. And as we build closer to the road to WrestleMania, we'll be here. Of course, we'll be here tomorrow on the Value Wrestling with your weekly roundup. Me, myself, and Mr. Paulus Clark and Miguel Z all together in one spot, live at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on YouTube, right here on the Value Wrestling channel. To give you the week of wrestling roundup, we're going to be talking about major of these things, getting in more detail on some of these things, and many, many other things that may happen. Looking forward to some of the other names that are going to join the Hall of Fame. We know Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham, the U.S. Express, have officially gotten their spot. We know Bull Nakano and Paul Heyman. We're still waiting to see the speculation of Bray Wyatt's going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame this year. We hope it happens. Can't wait to see how it's going to go. But a lot of names out there, a lot of chitter chatter. Can Brian Pillman get in here? Can they do 2 post after death inductions? We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be really interesting. Can't wait to see who else is going to be into the WWE Hall of Fame. Every day it seems they're dropping announcements. Of course, it's the weekend, so probably not a lot of business going on. But we will be looking forward to what happens next week. But be here tomorrow for the weekly roundup as we cover everything that's gone down in the week of professional wrestling. Anything that may happen within the next 48 hours, we'll be here to cover that for you. We thank you for being here. We thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I appreciate you for joining me right here on a Big Tyme Rants. Go ahead and hit the like button. Let's get this out in the algorithm. Help us build. Make sure you ring that bell for notifications so when we have new content come out or whenever we go live, you'll be notified immediately to know that we are there so you can catch it the very latest news, rumors, speculation, information, or live podcasts of us right here at the Value Wrestling. Always adding content, always creating new content, so be ready for that. And if you're new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, become part of the Value Wrestling family. Get in on the ground floor, because I promise you, once we reach that big mark of 1,000, we're going to blow it out of the water. Things are going to get entertaining. Things are going to get fun. We are about to venture into a lot of endeavors. We have a future interview with a big name coming up, and we also have opportunities to work with local indie federations that we're going to bring to you right here in the Northern California, Central Valley, Bay Area. There's some stuff coming, and we're working on it. We hope that you'll help us by supporting us. All you have to do is subscribe, and that's what you do to support us, and that is a big help. But on the Big Time, this has been the Big Tyme Rants. I will see you on the next one.